the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. Century Laminates and PolicyBazaar.com.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. 8 Indians, out of which 7 are Indian Navy veterans, have been sentenced to death by the Qatar government. It's shocking news. Captain Navtej Singh Gill, Captain Saurabh Vashisht, Captain Birendra Kumar Verma, Commander Purnendu Tiwari, Commander Sanjeev Gupta, Commander Suganakar Pakala, Commander Amit Nagpal, and Sailor Ragesh have spent, we know already, 14 months in solitary confinement in Qatar. The Qatar government says that they were spies for Israel. And the death sentence decision, ladies and gentlemen, plays out as the Israel-Hamas situation is flaring up. And after India's key economic corridor is a reality. Is this a move by Qatar to try and put pressure on India for supporting Israel? And is that fair? Is it fair to put 8 Indians to serve them the death penalty and pretend it has nothing to do with the ongoing situation? While the MEA has expressed shock at the death sentence, I think, and I must say this, I think the government needs to do a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the government should have done a lot more. Families here in India are grappling with a reality that you and me, ladies and gentlemen, can't even fathom, let alone wrap our heads around. There are families who are speaking to us saying that ever since August 2022, since the arrest of their loved ones, and despite the consular access being given, these families have no idea as to what the charges are against these Indian Navy veterans. All of them have worn the uniform, all of them have served the country. And one of them, ladies and gentlemen, has even got a Pravasi Bharatiya Samman for serving the country by providing naval knowledge and naval technology and capability building, capacity building for Qatar, working to only benefit relationships between India and Qatar. And is this what they get? A death sentence? These families, ladies and gentlemen, are very, very concerned. What we do know is that they, like hundreds of other retired heroes of the Indian Armed Forces, were serving at a legit company called Al Dahra in Doha. They were picked up by the Qatari state security for unknown reasons. Then a few months later, the owner of the company, who is initially in custody and is an Omani citizen, is released. An Omani citizen who is the owner of the company is released. But 8 Indians, 7 Indian veterans and 1 sailor are continue to be in custody. The owner of the company is released. Why? Because he's an Omani. And 8 Indians are staring at a death sentence. Why? Because they are from India. Our government should do more. I'm afraid the statements of the Ministry of External Affairs don't appear to be enough, and all we are told is that there are conversations going on, they cannot be disclosed. I understand confidentiality. But there's also an answerability. The reality also is that as the months pass and the weeks pass and time passes, we must not allow these 8 Indians who have worn the uniform to join the list of many, 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 many other Indian citizens, our fellow brothers and sisters, facing a life of imprisonment on a foreign country. Our government must do more. I'm sure the Prime Minister will do more. This needs the highest level of intervention. And as a nationalist Indian, as a nationalist channel and a nationalist network whose only purpose is to put Bharat first, nation first, forces first, army first, navy first, air force first, we campaign here on Republic to hashtag Bring Back Our Men. Bring back our men, ladies and gentlemen. Join me in this campaign. We can make a difference and let the government in Qatar know that the relationship between two countries is not a one-way street, that they also owe the families who are so concerned in India and answers. Our campaign is hashtag Bring Back Our Men, because after service to the nation, these men cannot be left to languish in solitary confinement and walk to the gallows without any answers. I say tonight, as Indians, this must become our only cause. We must, as I'm absolutely sure that the Narendra Modi government will. We must exercise all the diplomatic prowess and leverage in our command, all our influence we wield globally, all the muscle power that we have as becoming the focal point for industry trade globally, to hashtag Bring Back Our Men, ladies and gentlemen. This is beyond politics. This is for the nation. This is for our men. We owe it to them. We owe it to their families. Please come together. Let's start a massive movement, ladies and gentlemen. Bring back our men, to bring back the Navy veterans who are most unfortunately facing a death sentence in Qatar. And that is my only main debate tonight. And the second debate is on a subject I referred to earlier. And as usual, Republic is setting the trends. We spoke about it. I spoke about it last week. Was the real target of the Hamas attack? Was the real target of the Hamas attack, which I believe has a China connection, an attempt to attack the India, Middle East, Europe corridor? That global debate is at 10 p.m. tonight. You can't miss that one. And here are the headlines this Friday evening on the debate tonight. Eight Navy veterans sentenced to death in Qatar. Shock across India over the secret trial and the death penalty. India explores all legal options. Families of veterans file a mercy petition with the Emir of Qatar. From veterans to former diplomats, the chorus is growing too. Hashtag Bring Back Our Men, languishing in the Qatar jail for 14 months. Israeli tanks and airstrikes demolished airstrikes and eliminate 3 Hamas operatives in a preview to ground invasion. US says Hamas attack is aimed to derail the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Can the Chinese hand be ruled out? Was Xi Jinping getting jealous of the big deal announced at the G20?
लेकिन जिन लोगों ने गुलामी की मानसिकता नहीं गई, वो संस्कृत के प्रति वैर भाव पालते रहे। इस मानसिकता के लोग पिछले 1000 साल से हारते आ रहे हैं और आगे भी कामयाब नहीं होंगे।
In Chitrakoot, Prime Minister Narendra Modi slams the anti-Sanskrit lobby that ridiculed the ancient Indian language, Sanskrit, for years. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 14 months, 8 Navy veterans have been languishing in the Qatar jail. No details of the charges against them, no public information on the trial that is being conducted. These are 8 of our soldiers. These are 8 Navy veterans who have been sentenced to death by a Qatar court. And this development has jolted the nation. We must do more, ladies and gentlemen. We must all come together. We must support the government, because before the government to bring back our men is a huge diplomatic challenge for the Modi government as well. But we cannot let off this fight so easily. I'm sure the government won't. There is need for a national movement so that Qatar hears our voice. A campaign to bring back our men from Qatar. Here is what we at Republic know so far, and then we shall debate this.
For the last 14 months, Meetu Bhargava has been waiting for her brother to return. Commander Purnendu Tiwari, a navigation officer who commanded warship INS Magar and was conferred the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award in 2019.
I would like kindly inform that on 30th August, my brother, retired Commander Purnendu Tiwari, was abducted. We came to know after 2 weeks.
Is there any foul play that you suspect at this point in time, given the fact that for almost 2 months, none of the authorities wanted to speak about it?
Yes, sorry, no idea.
Commander Purnendu has been languishing in Qatar jail for the last 14 months along with 7 other Indian Navy veterans, including Commander Sugana Karpakala, who once served as a technical officer in the Indian Navy.
Right. Did you get any consular or legal assistance so far in this case?
Yes. From the Indian government we are getting. The embassy is with us.
Right.
And her health is completely down from yesterday. Seeing her health, we all are literally, मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि हमें भी ले जाकर वहीं दफना दे तो अच्छा है.
The 8 former Navy officers worked for Al-Dhara Global Technologies and Consultancy Services, a Qatar-based firm that provided training services to Qatar Navy. In August 2022, the lives of these 8 former Navy officers were upended when Qatari intel agency picked them up in the dead of the night. They were kept in solitary confinement, and following the arrest, very little on the case has been made public.
You suspected them for doing spying. Good. Very good of you. Where is the proof? You want to join the category of military courts in Pakistan? Please declare it. Be brave. Be honest. Be justified to tell your own population and the Indian government that here is the proof, here is what happened, and this is how we are doing a fair trial.
Indian government has been keeping a close watch on the case, giving timely statements on the same.
Our effort is obviously to ensure that they are not treated unfairly and that if the sooner we can bring them back home. So I assure you that they are very much, very strongly in our priorities in respect of Qatar, and it is something that we will be pursuing.
But despite the interventions, Indian government has a huge diplomatic challenge ahead. The trial that began in March this year has led to death penalty for the Navy veterans. India is exploring all legal options to bring them back.
The deepening commercial relations, because the trade is bilateral trade, was about $15 billion, 21-22. Looking at the leadership of His Highness, the Amir, I have no doubt that a request for pardon from India, from the government, as I said, families had earlier sent it, but for reasons I explained, there was no question of, giving it, you know what I mean. So now, there is a very good chance that will be done.
For 14 months, the families of these Navy veterans have endured harrowing times, but the resilience of families have shown throughout. Commander B.K. Verma is one of the 8 Navy veterans who is facing death sentence. In 2022, soon after his arrest, his family was aided by course-mates in the wedding ceremony of his daughter.
I would say kudos to Mrs. Verma, who took a courageous call. And so the family, which includes course-mates and friends and relatives, etc., everybody stepped in. Now, irrespective of who the father is, whether or the father would be there or not, we were all there.
It has been a long wait. 8 veterans are awaiting justice, and pressure is mounting on Indian government to bring back our men. Let's debate.
So it is without doubt a sensitive situation we are dealing with here. And the main priority at Republic is how do we raise public awareness to bring back our men. That should be our purpose. You know, Bakshi, let me start with you. How has this matter gone so unreported over the last 14 months? I'm surprised. You know, this should have been a campaign for over a year now.
Arnab, and it may have borne fruit, Arnab. You know, it is pathetic. It is 14 months. These families were initially told, don't worry, things are being done. They have been brought out of solitary confinement. They have been put into a common prison. And then we get this bombshell that they are going to be executed. This is an affront to India as a great world power. Can people treat Indian citizens so lightly? Where are the charges? You are talking of a death penalty, which is the worst form of punishment that you can inflict. Where was the fair trial? You know, all those trials at the criminal court were held in camera. Where are the charges? We still don't know if it is supposed to be espionage. You know, it is just media speculation. The simple fact of the matter is that even if, let us say, we say that there is some substance in the charge, that they were spying for Israel, do you need 8 Navy personnel, former Navy personnel, to spy on one submarine, to pass on the documents? You need 8 people, 3 captains, 4 commanders, 1 naval sailor, who were doing such a fine job. They were teaching navigation to the Qatari Navy. The Qatari Navy was so happy as part of the consultancy service. You let the owner of that firm scot-free, the one which is accused of, you know, passing on these secrets to Israel. And you sentence all the Indians to death. You know, Arnab, there is another angle to it. You know, we have such similar naval facilities, support facilities in Singapore, in Thailand, and we had made this breakthrough in the Arab world. Pakistan feels it has a divine right to provide all military training to Arab countries, Muslim countries. And their ISI has been adding fuel to the fire. They are behind this.
General, why are you not focused today?
Where is Singapore in
You're not focused. Sometimes it is Singapore, sometimes it's
Please
Pakistan.
understand what somebody is saying. You know, you don't listen and you start yakking your head off. The fact of the matter is there are similar navigation training facilities that ex-Indian service.
I mean, so what?
Do you know the charge?
Are you trying to take the guarantee of any Indian
Are you privy to the charge?
veteran?
Audio louder.
Are you going to take a guarantee for every veteran?
Look at
to
this
whichever
man.
country he goes and what he does? Are you going to take a guarantey? If you read the newspapers,
Vivek,
we have already talked
it is
to
not
the Indian
necessary.
authorities.
Can I come on air, please? Thank you. Vivek,
Information being passed on to Israelis.
Vivek, it is not necessary for you to speak up on everything.
Let's be clear. Let's be logical.
Let General Bakshi. No, Vivek. I'll put down your fader if you interrupt General Bakshi, because I need you to understand this. 1 minute.
Some silence.
1 minute. I'm going to waste time. Put down the fader. I'm not even going to waste time debating this. I'll come to you later, Vivek, when it's appropriate. I want General Bakshi to complete what he's saying. And I want us to speak with maturity and restraint. And General Bakshi, with your permission, in the middle of the screen, replacing me on air, I want to bring in Kapoor Kalyan Chakravarti. He's the brother-in-law of the gentleman whose picture has been going on air, Commander Sugumakar Pakala.
Sugunakar Pakala.
Can you hear me?
It is Sugunakar
Pakala. So, Sugunakar Pakala. Thank you. Sorry for the mispronunciation. Mr. Chakrabarti,
Yes,
Chakrabarti, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
I am curious to know about your brother-in-law.
I can hear you, sir.
Retired or left service from when he left service from the Navy, when he joined this firm in Qatar, and what you know of what has happened there since last year after his arrest.
Sir, your voice got missed. Can you come again?
I want to know the case of your brother-in-law.
Yes,
when
sir.
he left the Navy, when he joined this Qatar company, and what was his mandate? What was the job he was assigned
Sir,
when he went to work for this Qatar company?
Yes. He left Navy in 2013, and he joined he joined Qatar Doha company in 2018. Hello, can you hear me?
So he has been in Qatar for almost 4 years. He was in Qatar for 4 years before the arrest.
Yes.
And what was his work there? Did he speak to the family about the nature of his job in Qatar, Mr. Chakrabarti?
Yeah, once I spoke to him, what was his role? I just asked him. He said he used to give training to Qatar Navy.
And when did you speak to him last, or when did the family speak to him last? When did the family speak to him last after his arrest? While he has been in custody, what does he say now? Has he spoken to his family?
Yeah, he's been speaking to his family weekly twice. This option was given just like 2-3 months ago to talk in a week twice. Earlier it was weekly once. And before this statement of death was announced, he spoke on last Sunday.
Was he apprehensive about this? Did he know about this sentence? Was it due to come?
I am not aware whether he's been informed about this statement, because after this statement we were not in contact with him.
But was he expecting this judgment? Not this judgment. Was he expecting any judgment? Was there a judgment? Was there a date of judgment? This news has come now, but was this expected? Was this judgment expected? Was there a final judgment or a first judgment supposed to come? Was it around the corner?
No, initially they told us that there is a judgment on 26th of October, and there is a possibility of release of all these men on 26th. But after you listening yesterday,
I lost your audio. You said after listening yesterday?
After listening
I lost your audio. Can you just straighten your phone or camera, please, so that...
Yeah.
Just straighten your phone. I think you turned it around. Yeah.
No. Just a second. Sorry.
Go on.
See, what happened is yesterday afternoon around 12 o'clock, we came to know that the statement was given that all 8 men are sent for death. And we were shocked to listen, like, without the Indian government approval and without informing the Indian government, like the men have done some incident for which we are giving a death penalty is also not been discussed.
Yes.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
There is some delay in the audio. I don't... Hello?
No problem. You can continue. You can continue. My question to you, Mr. Chakrabarti.
Yes, sir.
We are all concerned about your brother-in-law. And we all want him back, and we want all the 8 Navy men back in our country. If the highest quarters of government are watching this program, or if the message is to go to them, on behalf of your family, what would you like to say? Because we want your voice heard directly.
We want the PM to speak directly to Qatar government regarding this issue. There is something which is hidden, which the Qatar government is not revealing to MEA or to the embassy. So we request the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, to resolve this issue personally at his level. And I have a confidence that he will do with his word. because my last
we all have that confidence.
News which I have seen regarding one pilot being bought back from Pakistan. When one pilot is being bought back, why not these 8 ex-naval officers? What crime have they done? Is this evidence being proved? And why is media showing? Why this media is showing that they are the spies for Israel? What is the fun that they will do with Israel? If they have to be a spy, they have to be a spy for Indian government, not to Israel. This is something undigestible. And these officers are reputed naval officers.
Well, Mr. Chakravarti. Yes, absolutely. We are aware of that. Decorated and awarded many times.
Yes.
I'm aware of that.
Do you think that they will do this type
Mr.
of...
Chakravarti.
Yes, sir.
No, there is no question of thinking that way. You see, I also want to share with you viewers, today on Republic, we are discussing a very serious issue. I want all facets to come in. I have, Mr. Chakravarti, my friends, Major Gaurav Arya and Major Samarpal Tur with me in the studio. General Bakshi, I am personally grateful to General Bakshi today for bringing this matter to my notice. And when he called me this morning, he said, Arnab, we must do something. We must come together and do something. And I made a promise to General Bakshi that we will do everything we can, sir. And I repeat that promise today. On the case itself, Gaurav and Samar, something's not adding up here. Firstly, the timing and the nature of the case has been there for 14 months, right? Second, the Israel angle which has been brought in out here. That is not adding up. Here, Navy officers on a legit job for a Qatari company, the owner has been released, they've been held. Is this some hostage exchange situation that the Qataris are looking at, or could this be linked to the ongoing conflict that we are seeing between Israel and Hamas?
No, actually, Arnab, what ruffled a lot of feathers in the Arab world was when Prime Minister Modi tweeted that I stand with Israel. And that is the right thing to do. If something bad happens in somebody's house, the first thing you'll say is, I stand with you. And that time when he had tweeted, Israel had not started launching those air attacks on Gaza. This is before that. He tweeted on the same day, within a few hours of the attack, that, extremely shameful this has happened and we stand with you. Now, the problem is this has rattled the Arab world. We all know what is going on behind the scenes. People not very happy with Israel getting recognized by a host of very wealthy Muslim countries, the leader of the Muslim world, like Saudi Arabia and like other countries also. They're very keen. So what has happened, Arnab, I think you're right. This Israeli angle has come about because of the conflict. That is number one.
So you're saying these men, see, today, would you say that some Arab countries are looking at a situation where they will look at every possible lever that can be used, not just against India, but against India and the Western Alliance and Israel?
Absolutely.
And the fact is, it would come to their notice that there are 8 Indian citizens who are in our custody, and unfortunately they become a bargaining chip.
Arnab, that is, you've hit the nail on the head. This is exactly what it is. So you get India in a bit of a sticky wicket, right? Where India does not, because it's a question of people, it's a question of army veterans, and India may not be able to react as it would have done normally. And you want India on your side in this ongoing conflict, between Israel and Hamas. You need India on your side. India took a very neutral stance when it came to Ukraine and Russia. And India said, no, we call for peace. But here, they're not willing to give any quarter. And I think, Arnab, you're right. I mean, in a nutshell, what you're saying is absolutely correct. This is to pressurize India to take sides. And this is to diplomatically pressurize India that, hey, listen, you're going to make these statements and maybe we let them go. Because I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Arnab, there is already an understanding between Qatar and India that should any Indian be in prison in Qatar, the Qatari courts will sentence, but this person will be extradited back to India and he will complete his sentence in India. That is what I'm given to understand. So, this is what it is, Arnab.
I think we need to do a lot here. And viewers, I want to bring to your attention before I get Samar into this. These are highly decorated officers. These are several naval officers. They are highly decorated and outstanding professionals who have served the nation very well. One of them, Commander Purnendu Tiwari, who has served as the managing director of the company, was honored with the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award in 2019. Today, a recipient of the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award for contributing to strengthening the relationship between India and Qatar, an award given by President Ramnath Kovind himself, is today facing the death penalty in a Qatari prison. This is incredible, and I would say that this is a matter of great worry. But it's going to be a big challenge for Prime Minister Modi and for the Indian government to find a way out of this. Not going to be easy. Samar, what do you think is going on? What are options here? We have to get them back. What are options here?
What is intriguing is that there were no telltale signs. Had even a speck of information would have reached the family members, I'm sure by now they all would have been in Delhi. They would have already contacted the Ministry of External Affairs.
What do you mean information reached the family members?
As in, they were in touch with their relatives, the naval officers. So they could have given some hint, but even they were in the dark. And let me connect the dots. In August, all 8 of them get arrested. For 1 month, they are kept in custody without any charge, as General Bakshi said. And they were in the jails, they were being interrogated. The Qatari government did not get anything.
Yeah.
Second thing what they did was they let them go. And they said that they're going to be deported, they need to pack their stuff up and they'll be sent back to India. The moment they got their items packed, they were about to board their vehicles for the airport. They were apprehended by the Qatari's intelligence agencies and they were taken back to the jail again without any legal charge or documents. And that is where they caught hold of all the training material which the company itself provides. It is disclosed at the time this training material enters any country. That particular firm has to declare at the immigrations, and legal documents are there that we are sending in. This is the nomenclature. These are the number of training aids. These are the books. These are the soft copies of a training aid that we are going to send, and it is submitted to the government in a legal document. So there's nothing that they were taking away illegally. It is all that the firm had for them to train the Qatari naval staff.
This is such a serious matter. I want to bring in Captain D.K. Sharma. Captain D.K. Sharma has at one point of time been a spokesperson for the Indian Navy. He has served with these particular arrested Navy officers and he knows them well. And I want Captain Sharma to tell the people of this country through Republic who these gentlemen are. One of them, I'm told, has been an instructor at the prestigious Naval Staff Services Staff College at Wellington. One of them is a Pravasi Bharatiya Samman winner. I mean, this is an extraordinary situation. Some of our best are facing the death penalty. Captain Sharma, over to you, sir.
Good evening, Arnab, and good evening to your viewers. It's really shocking, and I must now, since you have discussed everything, I must put on record who are these people. These are best of the best during their times. Yeah. Starting with Commander Purnendu Tiwari, he was the fleet navigating officer. It's a most coveted post for a commander to ever get, where he controls the full fleet along with under the guidance of his fleet commander. All in all, he is responsible for the conduct of the fleet when the fleet sails out for operations or other overseas deployments. Coming second to Navtej Gill, who is my classmate, he was awarded the President's Gold Medal after he completed his ab initio training. He is again a very brilliant officer, 12 months seniority, and you name it. He has done everything with excellence, and he was also an instructor in this Defense Services Staff College, which is not an easy thing to do. After that, he was also in the Foreign Cooperation as the Principal Director. Unblemished record. Then we come to Birendra Verma, Captain Verma, who was Chief Instructor in the Naval Academy. And so is with Amit Nagpal and S.K. Gupta and the other 2 technical officers, and also the sailor. Don't discount that sailor. The instructions which we as naval veterans were imparting to the Qatari Navy, they vouch for it, sir. Last 10 years or more than that, year on year, the contract has been renewed. The contracts don't get renewed just like that. they were delivering and they were becoming so proficient in their jobs that probably they ruffled the the feathers somewhere. But if you ask me, all of us have common books. All of us, all these naval books which are there, they come from England. They're all, a commonality is there. And we guys, we have such premier training establishments, and all these guys had this kind of an experience. And if they have, after taking voluntary retirement from the Navy, selected a second career of teaching somewhere else, and so what is wrong in it? They were doing it with such passion, and hard work was being done over there, and this is what they get. After, Gill has served there for more than 7-8 years, Birendra Verma probably more than Gill, and Purnendu Tiwari sir, he had set up the thing.
No,
so all this,
Captain, no doubt about that. But something's just not adding up here, sir. I don't want to over-speculate. All I will say before I bring in Gyanendra Mishra, Vivek Srivastav, Manaswi Thapar, Savio, before I bring them in, I would say today to the Congress party and to the members of the India Alliance, tread very carefully what you say. The Republic gives everyone a chance to speak, but speak with responsibility and understand that this could be an attempt to soften India's position in the Israel-Hamas conflict. It could have to do something with the India-Middle East-EU corridor, because the Qatar allies like China, Pakistan and Turkey are isolated from it. What are you saying, Vivek? Yeah, volume higher. I can't hear him.
The Prime Minister's impromptu
What is he saying?
First. No, then you should question the Prime Minister first for an impromptu reaction to the whole issue.
Okay, I heard you now. I put your fader down.
The Congress and the INDIA.
Sir,
question the Prime Minister.
Thank you. You are being repetitive. Thank you. No, 1 minute, sir. Let me tell you one thing.
No, I'm not repetitive.
That the families
the entire
of
debate is about
look up to the Prime Minister, for it is only the Prime Minister who can find a resolution from this, which I'm sure the Prime Minister and the government will. I think that the volume down. Can I put the fader down? The problem here is, Gyanendra, that we need to be extremely careful what we do, what we say. There are lives at stake here. And I'm saying that we need to navigate very, very carefully. We need to navigate very, very carefully. Your thoughts, Gyanendra?
I agree with you that we have to be very careful and sensitive to what we speak on this issue, including the position of the Qatar government, because ultimately we'll have to get relief, if any is coming through our way, is by approaching the Qatar government. And obviously the Indian government is going to do its best. The Prime Minister will leverage his own respect and positioning with the Qatar government to see that what is the crux of the matter, and if some relief can be, procured for these ex-Navy person. The whole issue is that this entire trial is so much opaque and secretive, and that basically raises the question. See, please compare this trial with the Italian Marine case, what has happened in India. It was such an open trial where the Indian law and the international law, like the Maritime Zone Act, the United Nations Conventions on Law on Seas, were made applicable. They were given the ample opportunity to defend their position, and ultimately you see the result. And contrast it with the trial, if we can call it a trial, what has happened in Qatar. Even today, we don't know that what were or the charges against these Navy persons.
What's happening, I'll tell you.
Which is so strange.
What's happening here is that, you see, Qatar is a country, as we saw when it was hosting the Football World Cup. Qatar is a country which is desperate for global significance, right? The Qataris were also accused of attempted bribing at that point of time to get the World Cup. I'm not getting into those issues. Qatar will have a problem with the Abraham Accords between Israel and the UAE. Saudi Arabia's step of joining it, right, and the leaps and bounds that India has taken in the arc of Israel, UAE, Saudi Arabia, this whole arc between UAE, Saudi Arabia and India will dwarf Qatar's Middle East influence. Qatar wants to be a big player. Along with this, if there is an India, Europe, Middle East corridor, countries like Qatar will lose their significance, China will lose its significance, BRI will go down. I'm not speculating here, but I'm just putting a broader picture that it may be possible that these are one of the, because India's significance is growing, this is an attempt at blackmail in my view, and we cannot discount that possibility, Manaswi, which is why we must stand together as we try to bring back our men. Manaswi Thapar.
Arnab, I feel Qatar needs India more than India needs Qatar. Qatar's largest investments which they depend upon a country would be India. The largest energy deals have happened with India. So the point what comes to my mind is 8 decorate men in the greatest land of India have been suffering there, and what we feel is since 14 months there was no debate on this, there is no discussion on this. This comes to the light in our country since yesterday. My question is, what comes to the government is going to do whatever it's in their hand, and I believe these 8 men are going to be back in the country. But since 14 months, I feel as a citizen of this nation that little has been done, and it is late. We should not have been discussing this. Qatar needs India. India does not need Qatar. And my only problem is that where is the action happening? This should have happened 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Why are we so slow?
I would request you to join the dots.
This government will not take action.
I want you to join the dots. On the 12th of October of this particular month, on 12th of October, the Qatari Chief of Staff visited Pakistan and he met the Pakistan Army Chief in Rawalpindi, and they had a discussion for mutual interest.
The truth is, your Ministry of External
Just 1 minute, 1 minute. Get him on then the other feed then. Get him on camera one, which has...
do not know what
these are not stories. Please get into the facts. Please get into the facts.
You get him on
Our government has been kept in the dark from day one.
Summer, you're not on air. 1 minute. I'll have to fix the camera. Put camera 1 or camera 4 on Summer, please. Aditi, thank you.
The government is responsible
1 minute, please.
for what is happening. And if you see the newspapers say that the Indian intelligence authorities who were talking to the Qataris, they were jibed and they were told that we have electronic
proof. Otherwise, Vivek's having a free run. Can we move the cameras here, please? Can you take it on the jib camera?
Ye sarkar ka haal hai. It's good that our media
Can I get Gaurav and Samar on the jib camera in single window on the left-hand side of the screen, please? Just 1 minute, please. Vivek, you can continue speaking. I don't know that we're not getting the camera feeds on these 2 gentlemen on the right. Yes, Samar, you can now respond. And Gaurav also, please. Samar, please go on. Thank you.
I'd first like to, it is very easy to blame the government in the very first go. But are we getting into the details? Are we connecting the dots? What is the timing of this verdict which has come? On the 12th of October of this particular month, the Chief of Staff of Qatar visited Pakistan.
On the right.
And let me tell you, Qatar has promised an investment of $3 billion to Pakistan. So their relations are very good. Pakistan and Qatar have better relations. Whereas India is concerned, it is in 2015 that we've just signed 5 MOUs with Qatar. But as far as Pakistan and Qatar's relations go back, they've been good since 1973. And on 12th of October, the Qatari Chief of Staff visits Pakistan,
Gaurav, please, on camera 1
meets General Asif Munir. They have a mutual discussion regarding mutual interest.
Do you think this is a case
and suddenly a bomb breaks like this?
Do you agree with this view, Gaurav?
I don't know. The fact is that I don't know whether there is a Pakistani angle to it, because I don't think anybody has good relations with Pakistan. Pakistan is a perpetual beggar. You know, it's asking UAE for money, it's asking Saudi for money. It's not like Pakistan is in a position to give anything to anybody.
Or to dictate terms to
Qatar. To dictate terms. But yes, I think we have dropped the ball. We'll have to admit, Arnab, if we want to get those 8 guys back, we have to admit that we dropped the ball. Now what next?
Dropped the ball?
Yeah, we have dropped the ball.
What do you mean by dropped the ball?
Arnab, they have been in jail for more than a year.
Yeah.
And I think they should not have been in jail. The media is also equally guilty, Arnab.
Completely.
The media is guilty because we did not take up this case. We woke up yesterday.
Correct.
And we should have taken up this case earlier. We knew very well that 8 of our brothers were in jail. And as far as...
We've done everything in the Abhinandan case.
Yeah.
We did everything in the Abhinandan case. I think we can do a lot here. I mean,
absolutely, Arnab, absolutely. We can.
Yeah,
yes, we will.
We're going to have to stick our necks out. But what can, Savio, what leverage do the Qataris have? You spent some time in the Middle East, you know. What leverage do they have on us or we have on them to get our men back?
You see, Arnab, you need to go back to the FIFA World Cup where you had 6,500 people from the Indian subcontinent who died working on building the stadiums for the FIFA World Cup. Out of that, 3,313 were Indians. And till now, no judgment has come for the death of our Indians who were working in Qatar. Even as I speak right now, we have approximately 70,794 Indians working in Qatar. Now, Qatar comes from a mindset, and that's why you need to see it in the entire context of the conflict between Israel and Hamas right now. You have Qatar, which is a financing arm. You have Hamas, which is the terror arm. You have Iran, which is the training and the strategic arm. And then you have the larger geopolitical scene, which is China. China has to ensure that the hold of US and the hold of India in this entire conflict is lessened. And therefore Qatar will be using this to blackmail the Indians. Qatar is going to use this to blackmail India to back off from supporting Israel.
Measure your words.
Please understand that Qatar is a country that finances Islamic terrorism. Qatar is a country that finances Hamas. So they are going to use it to blackmail India to back off from supporting Israel. Qataris are the countries and the nations like Iran that support Islamic terrorism.
Manage the foreign policy. That is the problem.
No, my dear friend from China, this is your problem because you continue to support China and China is playing the game. China is playing the game. China is playing a larger game. China is playing a larger game. Qatar is financing terrorism. Qatar is financing terrorism. Qatar financed Hamas. Iran trained Hamas. And therefore, you have to agree that China is working to ensure that India doesn't provide nuclear power beyond their point.
I think I would go back. Again, I want to tell you, we deal with this situation with sensitivity.
Yes.
We need to get them back and then deal with the situation. General Bakshi, how are things placed in your view? What should we do? Why can't we start a movement on this? What should we do?
You know, Arnab,
should we just leave it to the government right now? I think they have a very difficult job ahead. And are we being pushed because of the conflict?
You know, Arnab, for 14 months, we have totally trusted our government. Believe you me, when this happened, a number of my friends in the Navy asked me to speak to you, to speak to other media houses, to sort of, you know, help the families of these. Can you imagine what they are going through? Can you imagine? We've all seen what happened to the family of Jadhav. And I know how the media stood by him, how you stood by him, how we fought the case right up till the ICJ, right? So the fact was that we did trust the government. We have totally trusted the government. We understand that the government has serious constraints in this particular issue. There are certain sensitivities. But full play has been given to those sensitivities, you see. And now that the Qatari government has done this, I think there has to be, the Qatari government should also know where it is overstepping the limit. Where it is overstepping the limit in trying to push a country like India.
I think so.
Has got constraints. What constraints?
No.
Yeah.
No, what are our constraints?
The constraints of the government were to get them out.
I think as one
to get them
as
out
one
and
of
they
our
had to get it done
as
through
one
the
of our tweets on the
Qatari
Motorola
government.
moment says,
We understand.
this is an attempt by Qatar and other countries to involve other countries in the ongoing conflict. Remember, they are having less leverage. The Israelis are just preparing for the ground invasion, and therefore I think that what has happened is very, very sinister. To everyone, especially to the families, I want to let them know that the whole country is watching this. There's a tremendous amount of support, and I think there's support for the government as well, because it's got a very difficult job at hand. And we wish everyone well in this. Let's bring our men back.